Blake Lively completely exposes herself. Her secret plan is to always take control of the movies and lie to the directors to get it.
Lively is dumb, and I mean really dumb. She has told on herself so many times, and people digging up old video.
In a resurfaced interview, Blake Lively casually admits to lying during auditions just to land roles, only to later seize creative control once on set. Her words, meant to sound charmingly rebellious, instead reveal a long-running manipulation tactic that may have finally caught up with her.
This Forbes Women's Summit about how she likes to come in essentially like a Trojan horse and take over a project.
One overlooked 2022 interview confirms what Justin Baldoni, director of It Ends With Us, has been saying all along. The clip went viral just as rumors about legal action between Lively and Baldoni began swirling. Lively's secret plan was never a secret at all. She outright says she lies to directors to get hired, then slowly takes over the production from within.
Fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing and the costume design and creating the character.
Forget collaboration. Lively plays a different game. She pretends to follow the rules, only to undermine the very directors who cast her. Why settle for just acting when you can hijack the script, costumes, and even the tone of an entire movie?
Sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to fulfill.
What's shocking is not just what she does, it's how unapologetically entitled she is about it. Lively seems completely oblivious to the fact that bulldozing directors out of their own vision is not empowerment, it's sabotage.
That it's people who are, whether this is in business or acting or whatever it is, where it's people who I can see that feels like that's stepping on their territory, that's not going to ultimately be a fulfilling relationship for either one of them.
Baldoni's lawsuit laid out her pattern of interference, but many didn't believe him until this interview surfaced. Now, with the receipts out in the open, it's clear Lively's strategy was never collaboration, it was domination. When DB, things don't go her way, she doesn't negotiate. She mobilizes. Forget Daenerys. Hollywood's new mother of dragons breathes public relations fire instead of actual flames.
For them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. And so it was a really strange position to be in.
On set, Lively doesn't see a team, she sees a throne. Every creative disagreement becomes an opportunity for her to assert dominance, turning films into her personal kingdom, complete with her own rules.
I want to have more authorship. So I think that it's about, knowing what I want and what I need.
Even more stunning is how proudly she declares it. At the 2022 Forbes Women's Summit, Lively boasted about steering films away from their original vision, as if trampling over a director's work was just part of being empowered.
Your authentic self, right? And unapologetically, versus trying to hide it, it is what makes you great and brings out your best work.
But it's hard because you feel so replaceable.
The irony? The panel was meant to be about women's empowerment, but what Lively showcased wasn't strength. It was arrogance masked as ambition, sending the worst possible message to women trying to make it through honesty and talent.
So I have to do the thing to get the job. So it's tricky,
Some fans defend her, saying it's harmless for an actor to add creative input. Sure, when it's welcome. But in Lively's case, it often meant sidelining the people who were actually hired to lead the project.
She really does just kind of line out what her method is, and there's just a lack of self-awareness.
And not all directors are charmed by her input. While some tolerate it, others absolutely despise it. For them, Lively's interference feels more like an invasion, a hostile takeover masquerading as creativity.
There's just a lack of self-awareness here that is just, it's insane. It's actually insane to watch.
Directors didn't hire her to rewrite the script or dictate costumes, but Lively apparently didn't get that memo. She marches in, declares herself in charge, and dares anyone to push back. Humility? Nowhere in sight.
And so it was a really strange position to be in because I felt like I don't want to just
be an actor. Like, I want to have more authorship.
One of those directors is Justin Baldoni. As both lead actor and director of It Ends With Us, the adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, he had a clear vision, a tender, emotionally raw portrayal of domestic abuse and personal healing. Fans expected a respectful and cinematic adaptation.
Great. I mean, he did a really good job at balancing being both, a lead actor in the film and then being a director and a producer.
Unfortunately, his biggest mistake was casting Blake Lively. Had he watched her Forbes interview from just a year earlier, he might have reconsidered. Once Blake realized he was easy to influence, she allegedly pounced. She took over, rewriting scenes, redesigning costumes, and forcing tone changes, including awkward humor that clashed with the story's emotional depth. It wasn't a collaboration, it was a hostile takeover, complete with hairspray and high fashion.
Blake had spent the entire prior year trying to wrest control of this movie away from Justin Baldoni. It was his film, he was the director, he's the producer, he's the one who found the book and got the idea for it.
Clearly, reading the book wasn't high on Blake Lively's to-do list, but micromanaging every wardrobe choice and scene? That was apparently a full-time job.
Lively did not even read the book that the movie was based on.
Correct.
And we're not talking War and Peace. This is a book that's probably written at a second grade reading level.
Despite Colleen Hoover being closely involved in the production, she admitted in a TikTok video that Lively never actually read It Ends With Us. Odd, considering she was cast as the lead. Yet she still took it upon herself to reshape key aspects of the film, including wardrobe, dialogue, and possibly even casting decisions.
Baldoni, it was his film, he was the director, he's the producer, he's the one who found the book and got the idea for it. And she was such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the...
Multiple critics and behind-the-scenes reports suggest that Lively emotionally and physically exhausted Baldoni, making the production process a living nightmare. By the end, it was clear. He wasn't just directing a movie. He was surviving a war zone.
Up at 4:30 this morning, my heart was racing. I'm noticing that, I'm having some anxiety.
But hey, as long as Blake gets her way, right? Who cares if someone else's vision is bulldozed in the process? To her, it was never about collaboration. It was about control. Her entitlement was the true headline.
Intense year. This morning I sent a text message. I had anxiety.
Then came the bombshell. Insiders allege Lively went directly to studio executives behind Baldoni's back, pressuring them to reduce his role in the project. Whether it was a calculated power move or diva-level meddling, the result was the same. Baldoni quietly stepped back, and Lively's influence grew even larger.
She's the lead, and that she's now tried to turn this whole thing into a PR victory for her to get past what appears to be the fact that she is an egotistical bull.
And through it all, Ryan Reynolds stood by her side. Whispers around the industry claim he encouraged Lively to inject humor into the movie. Yes, humor, into a story centered on domestic violence. Apparently, the couple forgot this wasn't another Deadpool sequel. Still, Baldoni remained silent, enduring Lively's behind-the-scenes takeover. That is, until everything came to a head at Reynolds' Manhattan penthouse, no less, where Lively, Reynolds, and even Taylor Swift allegedly confronted him with accusations.
To the point where this guy was in the basement at his own movie's premiere.
Because of course these confrontations don't happen in studios or offices like the rest of us, they happen in luxury penthouses. In that high-rise showdown, Baldoni was blindsided by accusations of harassment. A Sony representative later expressed regret, admitting Reynolds should never have been allowed to confront Baldoni like that. But regret doesn't erase what happened. That's Hollywood. Enable the power players, then act shocked when it implodes into lawsuits.
Reynolds' penthouse in Manhattan, where Ryan Reynolds allegedly bullied Justin so badly that a Sony representative who was there, the production team behind the movie, and her biggest takeaway was, I am very sorry that I let him get away with doing that to Justin.
Baldoni wasn't the type to sit back and take it. The film had already been wrecked by poor creative choices, loud costumes, awkward humor, and an overall tone-deaf execution. Critics and fans alike panned the movie. Baldoni, devastated and furious, finally decided to fight back through the courts.
They were until Brian filed that lawsuit against them.
But before the dust could settle, Lively flipped the script. Suddenly, she wasn't the star who derailed a movie. She was the tragic heroine. In a stunning move, she accused Baldoni of harassment, positioning herself as the victim of Hollywood's old guard patriarchy.
All didn't like the way this film was being marketed. Yeah. Okay, we all thought it was cringe. And Blake was in that video being rude to the reporter.
She claimed Baldoni bullied her on set, stifled her creativity, and made it impossible for her to deliver her vision. Her lawsuit painted a picture of a tortured artist silenced by a controlling male director. She also accused Baldoni of fat-shaming her, pointing to a rooftop dance scene that required a lift. According to her, he asked her trainer about her weight to determine if the scene was safe to shoot.
Going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit.
Oh boy.
Baldoni countered, saying the question had nothing to do with her body and everything to do with his own spinal condition. He simply wanted to confirm if lifting her would be physically safe for him. But the damage was done. The New York Times published a lengthy piece clearly skewed in Lively's favor, painting Baldoni as an aggressive, overbearing director.
Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie It Ends With Us, a film about domestic.
In the article, Lively dropped new allegations, saying Baldoni watched her in her trailer while she was breastfeeding, and that he pressured her into an unwanted kiss scene. The implication was clear. This wasn't just about creative disagreements anymore. It was about alleged violations of personal boundaries.
One of the things he allegedly exploded on Justin Baldoni over was alleged fat shaming of Blake, because I guess when she was shooting this movie, she was postpartum.
The backlash was immediate. Baldoni's supporters slammed the article as a hit piece, accusing the Times of running a one-sided narrative that cherry-picked facts to crucify him. In response, Baldoni filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit against the New York Times, stating that the piece had severely damaged his career and reputation.